G'day, legends, and welcome to the Thursday Sesh with Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me is Willie. How are you, Willie?
I'm doing very well, Jared. I wish Happy New Year to all our listeners and viewers. It's the first time we've been back since before Christmas, so it's good to see you all.
Oh, yeah. Good point. Forgot all about that. There you go. Happy New Year. Everyone didn't even say it on Monday either. So I hope you all had a good one. As you can see, the name of the podcast tonight, Kuhn signs for Celtic. So we've done it. We've signed a player. About bloody time. So that's going to be something to talk about. Talking about a little bit about the contract situation, the latest transfers, and transfer rumours and everything. And we'll, talk about the upcoming Buckie Thistle game and a couple other things. So get involved in the comments section. We'll make the show as interactive as possible. So, Willie, what's your thoughts, mate, on Nicholas Kuhn signing for Celtic and getting the number 10 shirt? I've got a couple of little comments there off the back of that I want to ask you. So let's just go with your first gut feel.
First gut feeling is it's another winger. It isn't exactly what I hoped we would start the January transfer window off in. I was looking for more in the defensive or goalkeeping area. But it's another winger. He seems to be on a right-sided, left-footed player. He can play anywhere in the front three, as most of our wingers who we seem to sign kind of fit that bill when you get the description of them. So it'd be interesting to see where he goes. I think he'll be challenging Maeda for a place on the right. It might come down to it'll be Kuhn and Abada on the right with Maeda and Palmer fighting out on the left, and that'll be your four wingers for first choices. I certainly think we'll see more assists and goals from him, because some of the stuff I've been hearing is shooting isn't all that great. But as long as he's creating, that's the main thing. That's what he's there for, playing the wide areas. So coming from Vienna, it'll be a step up for him. But he's played at Bayern and Ajax, so he knows what sort of level he's coming to. So hopefully he's up for the challenge.
I'm going to jump straight on something you said there, Willie, because it's something I wanted to talk about anyway, which was the thing where his shooting's not the best.
Yeah.
Anyone who listens to Super Scoreboard and on Clyde One and actually takes anything they say with a grain of salt and not that it's truthful, you need your head read. For me, that's just that joint. It's just only time I listen to that is after we smack him in a derby. There's no other point I listen to that, because I just find it frustrating, and it's the verbal equivalent of the clickbait articles you see in all the Celtic Facebook groups. That's the way I sum it up. So. Yeah, like there's talk that he's not the greatest shooter, but he's a winger.
Yeah.
He's in the Paddy Roberts mold, which is, play on the right, come back in onto his left foot, which opens up shooting angles. If Maeda moves across to the left, as you said, to go to challenge Palmer, great in my opinion, because where's he been better on the wing for us, on the right or on the left? You got two quality guys out. You got two quality guys left. You got two quality guys on the right. Happy days. So I'm not too confused or upset about any of that. I think it's good to have two quality players battling out for every position. So, yeah, it's I mentioned on Monday maybe even Maeda goes and starts challenging Kyogo for a striker spot. But that's something that could also be on the cards depending on what we do. So, all things considered, I think the signing of Nicholas Kuhn is promising. I'm going to ask you, though, how is he going to live up to the number that was most recently worn by Celtic luminaries Albion Ayeti and Vakun Bayo in the number 10 shirt? How do you think you'll live up to it? It's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
There's a lot of pressure. I mean, a lot of goals by that too, you know what I mean? I mean, Bayo scored 2 until Craig Levein took them off him in a fight, but in one game. And Albion Ayeti, is he actually still a Celtic player, or did we release him? Did we just tell him to head off out the door?
Contract ended last season, or we released him or something.
Thank God for that. Yeah, I mean, he can't do any worse. Like, if he does do worse, then oh my God, then just retire the number 10 shirt now.
Last quality player to wear the number 10 was Moussa Dembele. There you go. And then before him, who would have been before him? Is that what Tony Stokes wore?
Was it Tony? Gary Hooper. Hooper was 88.
Hooper was 88. I think Stokes was 10.
Stokes would have been 10 now.
Yeah.
I think who else would have had that?
And then going back before that, yeah, my brain's pretty much mush today. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll have a look at this.
Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at it going, I think he's got a lot of qualities that we need. He's got speed. He's got the technical ability. He's got the pedigree. He's got the shirt number now.
Yeah.
He gives us that depth we need out wide. So I'm doing some padding here, Willie, while you look up shirt numbers for us. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking all of that's good. And overall, he looks like the love child of Paddy Roberts and Henrik Larsson when you look at his face.
He does, actually,
he's got that Larsson cheekbones and nose, but the Paddy Roberts beard and haircut. So it's like, yeah, we'll have to start calling him, Paddy Larsson or something like that as a nickname for him.
I actually do think that would be a good nickname from Paddy Larsson. But on famous Celtic number 10s, you have Jan Vennegoor Hesselink, Isle Berkovic, Marc-Anton Fortuny, John Hartson, Andy Tom, Phil O'Donnell, Jerry Crenny, Charlie Nicholas, Andy Walker, Murdo McLeod, Tommy Barnes, Roy Aitken, Bertie Old, and William O'Neill. They're all showing up on the list here.
So realistically, you go John Hartson was quality, and the next decent one after him would have been Ben Hesselink, and then
Jan Vennegoor,
and then you would have gone Stokes, Dembele, and then and then that's it. So, let's get in there and see how he can play. Apparently, he can play across the front line. As Maestro's saying here, let's wait and see how he does. Says he can play anywhere across that front line. So if he can play left, he can play right. It'll be fine. So it'll be good to see. Now I'm just going to bring up some of the comments here. What do we got here? So, hail, Michael. Martin has got a comment which we'll discuss a bit later. IR77, let's hope he's a good one. Nice. Martin was saying we had a conversation yesterday about another left back. I point out Taylor has seen 3 left backs. Total transfer fee is 23 million. How much do we need to spend? We'll discuss the left back situation a bit later on, but yeah, I see what your point there. Kevin Mullen saying, "How lads, let's hope Kuhn hits the ground running. Left back in, striker, league coming home again." Yep, they're the 2 positions we were talking about on Monday as well. Are the next priorities. So, Willie, what do you see as our priorities the rest of the transfer window? Is it those 2 positions, or is there other things as well, if you have to put them in order?
For me, left back is top priority. I mean, Greg Taylor, his form's gone out the window this season. He came on a bit of a game towards the end of the first half of the season. Before the break, he started to put a couple of good games together. But his form before that, and especially in Europe, was pretty woeful at times. So left back for me is definitely top priority, and then probably goalkeeper after that. I would say would probably be the next one. It's a position I just think Joe Hart is coming to the end of his career, and it's a position we need to be addressing, at least to be making serious inroads on.
Okay, so we'll discuss the goalkeeper a bit later on as well. But for me, I broke it down into there's 5 positions that needed strengthening. You needed another winger, we needed a striker, we needed a left back, we needed a centre back, and a goalkeeper. They were the 5 players. And I said we can wait for the centre back, depending on departures, and the goalkeeper until the summer when you'll have better options available. Left back and striker are the priorities for me the rest of this transfer window.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I mean, a third striker is certainly needed. I don't know. I'm not quite sure where O sits. I mean, for me, he's a third choice striker. He's young. He's ready to come into it, but he's not quite there. So he thinks he's ready to come into it, but I don't think he is. I just think he's not quite there yet. And we just certainly do need someone to challenge Kyogo, or at least somebody on the bench who you can turn to that you know is going to get a goal if you need to change the style of play up front from something quick and fast thinking like Kyogo is to something a bit more physical and robust. Something that you think O's going to give you, but he doesn't quite offer that when it comes to it. He will go into challenges, but I don't know. The jury's out on O for me as it sits.
Yeah, I've said earlier in the season, O for me is the 3rd string striker. I see him in the role this season that Edouard played in his first season at the club. So he had Dembele and Griffiths in front of him, and then he was learning under them and developing with no pressure. That's the role I see for O. So is that second striker going to be Maeda backing up Kyogo, or are we going to bring in another striker? that's to be discussed and everything. But yeah, for me, striker and a left back are the priorities. Now, I'm going to bring up some more comments here. So here we go. Michael Ross was saying, loads on the Celtic way and Axel. I'm already writing Kuhn off. It's mental. Mahesh is saying, Kuhn's heat map suggests he can play a 10 type role as well, a bit like Haxa, but Kuhn's quicker, more technical than Abada. Hopefully, there's a better pass on him. So there's a lot of positives there. Damien Gallo is saying, left back, goalkeeper, number 6 in that order for me. RL77 doesn't Lowell have a son who can play left back?
Probably got a nephew somewhere along the line who'll come in and do it, like, for half the price.
Michael Ross is saying if Kerry gets injured, we're in trouble. That's why I'm saying striker and left back. And Martin has some comments here, which I also agree with, which we'll discuss a bit later. The biggest thing will be getting rid of players first and freeing up wages. We won't get a left back, goalkeeper, striker is most important. And he follows up with our biggest thing is moving players on and getting a striker. A left back and goalkeeper are some signings in his opinion. So Maestro is saying a striker, left back and goalie can wait till the summer, move players on. Pegleg Lonigan saying left back and striker. What about right back? Johnson's been honking. I think that can be addressed in the summer. I think we've got enough coverage out right back at the moment. I think Johnson's actually probably played his best couple of games so far this season, the last few games before the winter break. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes. But we'll go back to what we're saying here about it. So, yeah, so Kuhn, basically, there's a lot of positives there. We'll see how he goes. We've got a bunch of other transfer window chat to get through. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more things to go through here. So I was talking about centre back being a position that we need to fill. And for me, I was saying if we have any departures, we'd need someone. If we don't, so be it. So the rumours are Kobayashi's going to join Harry. Phillips has already left. We had like 7 full centre backs. So the rumours are of Cameron Carter-Vickers' departure. Bloody sneezes, hay fever's killing me over here today. So with Carter-Vickers rumoured for departure, offers coming in, he's been linked with 3 EPL teams in West Ham, Brentford and Nottingham Forest. What's your thoughts on that, Willie?
I don't think that can be allowed to happen in any way, shape or form. I mean, he's pivotal to our chances of retaining the league. He's been a bit part player this season through injuries, but whenever he's fit, he's the first name on the team sheet. So I really think that if we are going to go on to win this league, he is going to have to be part of that. And getting him fit and getting a consistent run of games from him is key to what we need from him this season. And selling him is not an option. Like, if we want to sell him, we can sell him in the summer and try to rebuild from there. But not at this stage of the season. We're already having troubles in the centre back position as it is. We're not sure who our best pairing is when CCV is injured. So it's a position. It's a definite no from me. Like,
yeah, I'm looking at going Carter because he's got to stay where he is. As you said, if he wants to move on in the summer, then that's something we can look at. But we're trying to strengthen the team. So why would we sell our most important centre back? Yes, Liam Scales has been ranked in the top 60 players in the world at the centre back position for his heading ability and everything.
Yeah.
That was announced today. And he's developed well this season, but there's levels here. And Carter-Vickers is like the Rolls Royce in our back line where, everyone else we've got there, they're the forward focuses and, in Australia, Holden Commodore sort of thing, they're coming up and developing. We haven't got that cream of the crop centre back yet. So if we were to lose Carter-Vickers, then it's not even addition by subtraction. It's just weakening ourselves for no reason. So I can't see that happening.
He's one of the best centre halves I've seen play at Celtic in my lifetime, Mike, and there's no question on that in my mind. Like, we just cannot afford to lose him. When CCV plays, we don't lose. It's fairly simple. Like, I mean, Europe aside, okay, we get beaten there, but domestically, he's just a rock. I mean, it's important that we keep him.
Yep. So, yeah, Damien Gallo's agreeing with you, Willie, 100%. Willie can't be allowed to leave before the summer. So, yeah, well, I'm not I don't want him moving on. I think he's how it is there. So we'll just roll with that. And I think the other question of the whole centre back rotation is you've got Lagerbalk has also been linked with numerous Italian clubs this window. So the rumours are that Lecce, Verona, and Bologna are the clubs that are interested in signing him. So if you've got those three clubs wanting to sign him, so if we look at all the centre backs we had at the start of this window before it opened, you had Carter Vickers, Scales, Narowski, Lagerbelka, Welsh, Kobayashi, Phillips. I think I've covered all of them, right? So that's 8 centre backs for 2 spots. So Phillips is gone. Kobayashi's gone. That brings you down to 6. Realistically, you want to have 5 centre backs for 2 positions. So if someone gets injured, you've still got coverage for 2 of each of them. So realistically, if Lagerbelka moves on, then we're at our limit where you're going to have Carter Vickers, Scales, Narowski, Welsh, and I'm missing one off the top of my head here. So, yeah, it's just a bit of a on CCV.
We've got enough. We've got enough cover there. Even if we sell Lagerbielka, then there's still 5 there, and we don't. It's not like we're desperate for money and we need to push the sale on. His value's not going to drop between now and the end of the season. It might go up if he starts to get a decent run of games and produces some decent form. So his value, I don't think his value will go down too much. Like, so for me, it's just a massive no. Like, and if they do sell him, there's a massive red flag straight away.
If they do sell them, there'll be protests and all sorts out the front. They'll have to get those, metal fences out again.
Yep.
So Martin was saying if we get 19 million plus for Carter Vickers, he should be moved on. With his injuries and the fact he's close to the end of his 3rd season. And Michael Ross is saying I think we'd be lucky to get 15. At the end of the day, we're going to get a fair chunk of change for him. It's this one here, which is Damien, sums up my exact thoughts, which is winning the league this season is pivotal. We can't allow the Orcs to get the Champions League money and clear their debt. Selling CCV would give them a realistic chance, and that is the point. I said on Monday, you've got him in a spot, step on the throat.
Exactly. Martin says we might get 19 million plus for CCV. Well, if you sell CCV right now, you might lose 40 million. Another 40 million on top of that from fucking not making the Champions League. So it's
60 million swing, basically.
60 million. So you get 20 million coming in for CCV and then another 40 million going out because you missed out in the Champions League. So it's a definite no for me. Like
100%. I'm going to go on back to the Lagerbalke thing for a minute there, Willie, because with Verona being in for him, though, I want to ask you, would you consider this? We were talking early on in the pod about getting a left back. There's all these talk about Josh Doig. He was about to move to Marseille for £4.3 million. That is broken down. So if Lagerbalke was to be sold to Verona, would you try to make it a swap plus cash deal for Doig? Bring him in. That'll fix our left back problems. That'll get him out of the club. We spent, $3 million on him? So you'd probably try to get at least 2.5, 3 million of that back. So then you're probably looking at Lagerbalke plus 2 million or something like that you look at for Doig. I think that could actually work. And that would you'd see the meltdown over at Snake Mountain too, because they think they're a chance of getting him if they sell Yilmaz. So what do you think of that option, Willie?
I think Josh Doig was a good player. I quite liked him when he played at Hibs. I always thought he was a player that might actually end up at Celtic one day, but it wasn't to be, and he moved elsewhere. So, yeah, I wouldn't be against that move. I mean, he's gone over to Italy, so he'll have learned a bit more about the defensive side of the game and positioning and that than what he would have in Scotland. It's 100 mile an hour blood and guts style of football, so he'll definitely be a more seasoned player when he comes back, right?
Would have learnt some dark arts over there, which will come in handy in Europe.
Yeah.
So we got Martin saying that Rogers wants Lager to improve and come back, so he won't be sold to be loaned out. Damien saying I think Doig would be a good signing. He'd tick the homegrown box too for Europe.
Yeah.
Michael Ross is saying Doig would be a great signing. So I think if we wanted to sell Lagerbalke and move him on, that could be a solution to not only, getting him off the wage bill and moving him on, but also fixing a problem in the squad. Because if Verona's in and that's where he is, we could do, kill two birds with one stone, the old saying. So we could make that work. So I don't know. It's a bit of an interesting one. I suppose it's a watch this space thing.
Yeah. I mean, teams like Marseille are vying for your signature. They're not small clubs, they're competing in European football every season. So he's obviously highly rated elsewhere too.
Yeah.
It's just football snobbery in Scotland. When they play in Scotland, you look down your nose at them and just say, "Oh, nah, maybe not. We'll go elsewhere and try and sign somebody else." And we went and spent $4.5 million in Burnaby, and we threw that $4.5 million down the drain, really.
Yep. Dumped it in the loo and we've, flushed it down there. So after dropping a bit of a shot on it. So there you go. Pegleg is saying the Liverpool lad with an option to buy for me. So I think he's referring to Owen Beck.
Yep.
The Welsh left back who was at Dundee. My concern with him, and it's the only concern I've got, is Rodgers has mentioned that he wants a bit more size and a bit more athleticism. And yeah, he's got that athleticism, but I don't really see it in terms of Taylor's 5'8", 5'9", something like that. And he's also 5'8", so it doesn't really address that problem, especially in Europe where teams target our small fullbacks. Where Doig, I think, is a bit taller. I'm just going to Google it now, but yeah, I think he's a little bit taller, which could come in handy.
Yeah. Owen Beck's a good player. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists in 17 appearances for Dundee. He gave Dyson Maeda, he had a really good game against Dyson Maeda just before the break there. He likes to bomb on. He's a good crosser of the ball. He's actually quite strong in the challenge, so he would definitely be pushing Taylor for a starting place straight away if he did sign him. And as Pegleg says, if you get him on loan with an option to buy, that would be the best way to do it. But if he plays for Liverpool between now and the end of the window, that's it. We can't sign him because he'll have played for 2 teams in one season and he won't be allowed to come. So Liverpool are going through a bit of a defensive crisis at the moment. So there is a chance that he might not be able to come because he'll have to play for them at some point.
100%. Looking at it, I said Doig might be a little bit taller than, Taylor being 5'8" or whatever he is. Doig's 6'2".
Ooh, that's quite a big difference, eh?
6'2", and he's Scottish, so he ticks the both for Europe. The size, so he won't get targeted down the left, and counts as a homegrown. So there it is for me. Get it done.
Yeah.
Rab Douglas has said that he thinks Joe Hart should stay for another year. This is where we're going to get into your goalkeeper talk, Willie, that you mentioned earlier. So Rab was saying he thinks Joe Hart should stay for at least another year, and he should also pick his successor at the club. So I want to get your view, Willie, on the current goalkeeping situation at the club and also the links to Callagher at Liverpool and what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, for me, the current goalkeeping situation at the club's a bit dire. Joe Hart's on his way out. I mean, he's getting slower. He's not like some goalkeepers when they hit the age of 36, 37, they start to peak and get better towards the mid to late 30s, but not Joe Hart. He seems to be getting slower. He seems to be getting prone to leaving big wide spaces for free kicks. He's not coming out for crosses anymore. He makes the saves he needs to make, and he's just doing enough and no more in the goal there. And for me, yeah, we probably could bumble on to the end of the season with him in there. But for me, it's a position that really does need addressed. I just think that he's not making the saves he should be making. He's not going to get you match-winning saves like Fraser Foster used to do or Arthur Boruc used to do. It's not good. His stats aren't great either. So as much as I love Joe Hart, and he added a bit of solidity out there after the debacle of Vicious Barkas being in there, but it's definitely a situation that needs addressed. But as it goes with the Kelleher, he's definitely a goalkeeper I would be looking to sign. He's got 3 other EPL clubs interested in him at the moment. He's valued about 10 million, but he's only got six months left in his deal. So I reckon if you offered 4 or 5, you might be able to get him before the end of this window for that. But I was looking at the football ref stats for him. He's in the 94th percentile for crosses, He's 93rd percentile for PSXG, which is shot position, possible shots to expected goals on / shots on target. So it looks at the likelihood of the goalkeeper in question saving a shot based on the PSXG of where the shot ended up. So he's in the 93rd percentile for that. So he's pretty good shot stopper. He's 79th percentile for touches in and around with his feet. So it shows he's quite comfortable with the ball at his feet. So it is a move I'm keen to see happening. And he can also save penalties. I watched a penalty shootout and he saved a couple of them. So he certainly ticks all the boxes for me.
Yeah, well, on the back of that, Willie, from that website as well, you sent it through to me. Percentage of crosses stopped is a 94th percentile as well on that. So that's something as well. So he commands his box. Now, the concerns for me, though, when I look through the other stuff is, what was it here? I was trying to find. There was one that I marked earlier. Corner kick goals against. He's the 15th percentile for that, which is pretty low.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was the one thing for me. I'm like, we tend to concede a lot from corners and set pieces, and those were the two stats there that I was a bit iffy about.
But he doesn't get an awful lot of games. I mean, he's had 11 games this season. I think most of them have come in Europe. But when you've got Alisson in front of you, you've got the world's best goalkeeper in front of you, like, you're not going to get much game time when he's fit. So I just think
Stevie Woods, and that should develop him.
Yeah, I just think it's a move that makes sense for me. Like, you know what I mean? Everything, he just sort of ticks all the boxes. He's tall, he's strong, he's commanding, you know what I mean? He can play with the ball at his feet. He's good at crosses, like, so it's just a no-brainer for me. Like, get the deal done. Push the boat out and get it done.
The only questions, Willie, are on Monday, people are saying his contract's up in the summer. But then other people are saying his contract's not up for another 2 years. Different sites are saying that. And apparently Liverpool's saying they want £20 million for him. Our club record is what? It was $9 million for Edouard, but then with the sell-on percentage we had to give PSG off the back of it, it works out about $11 million or $11.5 million. So that's actually our club record when you factor all expenses in, is $11.5 million. That's a massive leap. And are we really going to spend that on a goalkeeper in Scotland? I don't know. Pegleg's saying, people saying Calais is out of our reach. He's on $6,000 a week at Liverpool. He's desperate for first team football. So yes, we will tick those two boxes. We can give him first team football. Let's look at it this way. James McCarthy's on what, $14,000 a week? Says it all. So we can definitely afford his wage. We can give him the first team football. It's the transfer fee is going to be the biggest issue for me. How are we going to get around that? Damien Gallo is saying Hart is okay till the end of the season, but he needs replaced during the summer. RL77 is what's the wall up to these days? He doesn't suit Brendan's style of play. So that there. Michael Ross was saying anytime I've seen Colour, I've not been impressed. Don't see the fuss over him. It's just because he's Irish. Mahesh was saying Hart's the 8th best shot stopper in the league.
That's pretty damning, that start. You know what I mean? There's 12 teams in the league and he's fourth worst.
Yeah, Michael Ross is saying Keller's on $30,000 a week. Well, even if he's on that, we can still pay him $35, $40. He'll be one of our top earners. And Martin is saying we need to find a key because that's the difference between a draw and a victory in Champions League. And that's the thing. Like, how much do you get for a win in a Champions League? It's about, what, £4 million, £3.5, £4 million for that. If you get a draw, it's about $1 million, and a loss, you get $500,000 or something.
Yeah.
So if you can get a good goalkeeper who can save you some points or win you some points here and there with stops, and instead of losing it's a draw or whatever, then not only does it help your coefficient, but it also helps earn you more money in the pots. So yeah, sometimes you got to spend money to make money, as they say, and speculate to accumulate. But our board doesn't do it, so we'll probably end up with some low knee from, Sunderland or something like that.
It was the same when we signed Fraser Foster the second time round. I mean, everyone's like, well, we've got Craig Gordon. Craig Gordon's a decent enough keeper. Why are we signing another one? And then all of a sudden, Fraser Foster comes in and starts playing, and you're like, oh, that's why we signed him. Oh, yeah. Big difference there, like, you know what I mean? So it's just, it's a position that just, I wouldn't say it's giving me sleepless nights. Like I say, we could probably do. Joe Hart could probably go till the end of the season. I mean, even if you sign Kelleher this window, you could say, right, Kelleher, you're our league goalkeeper, and give Joe Hart the caps, or vice versa. Just say, look, find your feet at the club. You're going to be the first choice next season. We'll give you the Scottish cap, guaranteed, and then we'll let Joe Hart see out the season in the league. Either or vice, like I say, you know what I mean? But you might want to throw Kelleher in to get the Glasgow derbies under his belt, so he's ready for next season too. Like, so.
Yep,
but it's a
100%.
no-brainer for me, the position. It needs addressed.
So I'm going to bring up some comments tying into the next thing here, the next topic we had, which was Anthony Joseph. He sent a tweet about Celtic's plans for the rest of the transfer window. So I'm going to read that out, and then we'll bring out some comments and discuss it all in one great big convo. So this could go anywhere. So the tweet was, Celtic are now focusing efforts to bring in a left back and a striker before the end of the transfer window. Permanent deals will be preferable, but loan targets may be more achievable. Goalkeeper situation is also being addressed, but more likely to be addressed in the summer. Then the Hoops are open to offers for Gustav Lagerbalke, Alexandre Bernabe, James McCarthy, and Rocco Vada. Vada is out of contract in the summer and is already in talks with Bologna and Como. Yuki Kobayashi and Marco Tilio are also likely to leave on loan this month. So a pretty well-connected journo is saying that. So I'm looking at it with Bernabe as one of those guys there to be sold. That ties into this here from Maestro 95, which is the boy Mitchell Frame under our nose. Maybe we should try him out. And Michael Ross also saying Frame should get some game time. For me, I would love to see him in the squad. I think what we'll do is you'll have Taylor, you'll bring in another left back, and then have Frame as that third guy developing. So if one of them's injured, suspended, whatever, he'll start to break into the squad over the next 18 months. That's ideal for where I think he should be. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, left back, like we say, it's definitely needed. I mean, I've been sort of saying that I would play Mitchell Frame over Greg Taylor over the last couple of weeks because Greg Taylor's gone off the radar for me. So, yeah, 100% agree that Mitchell Frame should be getting a bit more game time. Right?
Yep, 100%. Now, on the rest of all of that, so the players listed to be sold is Lagerbalke. We've discussed that early on. Fine. Let's try and, wrangle that into a deal to get Doig coming the other way. James McCarthy, yeah, we need him off the wage bill. He's just never should have signed the guy in the first place, but at the time we were desperate for some players. Rocco Vada, yeah, it's not going to happen for him at Celtic, unfortunately. So I think those guys are covered there. Kobayashi there, the talk is he's going to join Harry back over at Yokohama F. Marinos, so that makes sense. There'll probably be like a loan in terms of the same way that it was with Itaguchi, where he went back to Japan on loan. So, Kobayashi will go play in Japan. Tilio, for me, with us bringing in another winger, I still think he's going to be a player for us, but it's not going to happen this season. He needs to go out on loan, get a bunch of games, and rediscover his ability, and then we can look at bringing him back next season and seeing if he can challenge. I think in the summer we'll probably lose, let's be honest, we'll probably lose Abada. So if you're bringing Kuhn in to be that guy, challenging him to potentially starting on the right, then that's going to open up a spot for someone like him to potentially come into that, which I've been talking about, the production line that I want us to have, where we have the starter, we have the backup, and then we have the young guy developing behind the scenes, so that, say, if Abada moves on in the summer, Tilio steps up into the backup role, then we have another guy coming from the youth academy, ideally, which is something Kevin's saying here. Where are the good strikers from the academy? We don't produce anyone from youth. I would love to see that, and that ties into what I'm saying. That's the sort of plan there. But yeah, it's a bit of an interesting situation. Michael Ross has come up with one here saying the young Icelandic goalkeeper was mentioned, Hakon Valdimarsson, 6'2", 22 years old. Could be interesting.
Yeah, I did a little looking up on him. He's 23-year-old. He's in the the team of the year, Swedish team of the year, 14 clean sheets last season. He's established himself internationally for Iceland. He's quick off the line. He's decent with the ball at his feet. He's commanding in the box. He'd probably pick him up for 2 to 2.5 million. And he's also wanted by Anderlecht and Ghent. So it could be he would tick all the boxes for a project signing, but he's got a lot of
that word, Willie.
I know. 22. He's got 22, 23. He's like, from what I can, the things I was reading him, he's got a bit of developing physically to do yet, but it's all accounts he's a decent enough keeper. Like, so.
Okay, let's sign him and Joe Gauchi and let him battle it out. Done. Sorted. Mahesh, any stats on Valdemarson? If you got anything, chuck it in the comments. Yeah, for me, I just think there's plenty of options out there. We'll make something work, and yeah, it'll be watch this space. Ian, thanks for tuning in. Glad you enjoy the channel, love the podcast and all that stuff, and yeah, hail, mate. Appreciate that. I think all things considered, Willie, I think we've pretty much done the transfer stuff to death here on the pod. I just want to bring up 2 last comments about this sort of stuff. So Martin said, we need to remember Johnson, CCV, Home, Hatate, Kyogo, Maeda, Abada, Rocky, Welsh are all about injuries and haven't fully recovered. This break will have done wonders for that. I also put Tilio in that group because he came in injured and then re-injured himself once he got into Glasgow. So there's a bunch of players there. So I'm not going to say the guys coming back are like new players because I hate that saying and everything. And it's just lets the board off if that's the case. But I'm really looking forward to seeing what Home can do in this system if he gets a few games. I think Bernardo's just going to jump ahead of him recently as well with his form the last few. But yeah, it'll be good to see having those guys back and having some squad depth. Some of those games seeing the bench was absolutely mortifying is probably the nicest way I'll sum it up. Some of the guys on the bench and everything. Yeah, with Qantas and Mirren and everything now. We'll see him kick lumps as well. But the last one to finish the transfer talk off, Damien Gallagher, do you think we need a quality number 6? If Colmack gets injured, O'Reilly would probably revert back and that would weaken our attacking threat. I don't think it'll be O'Reilly going back. I think it'd be Tomoki Owada would come in the number 6 because that's his natural position. And I don't think that's much of a drop-off, if anything at all. So, yeah, for me, I think we've got that number 6 there already. What do you think, Willie?
I definitely think Iwata would come into that position, and if Iwata wasn't there, I actually think Bernardo could probably drop in there and play the holding midfielder quite well too. He likes a good challenge and he can pass from deep. So, yeah, I think Bernardo would probably drop back before O'Reilly would. I mean, we'd have to take some serious amount of injuries before you would be trying to throw O'Reilly into a more defensive position. So, yeah, for me, it would be Iwata.
100%. Like that. Playing O'Reilly in the 6 last season when Kelmack was injured, I think actually threw all his rhythm off because he didn't score a goal till later in the piece, and he just didn't seem like himself. Gerard saying Owada deserves a chance. Michael Ross has to be Owada. Dan saying definitely Owada. Pegleg is saying the reserve league needs to be brought back. How the hell are we going to develop young players at all? It's not just development of the young players. That's part of it. But how do you keep your other players who aren't getting the game match fit? There's only so much match simulation you can do at training. So if you were to have guys like Tilio, Quan, Yang, who we didn't even mention before when we spoke about wingers either, Willie. We've got Yang there as well. Guys like Mikey Johnson, you can get games in them. And if teams want to come up and have a look at them, there's a place for scouts to see them. There's a place for you to, you can do that. I keep saying Celtic TV would be amazing if they extended it and put first team games on it, B team games on it, we had a reserve team, and you actually had those games and the women's team on there. I'd actually consider paying for that. At the moment, it's just an absolute shambles.
No. I mean, the Celtic TV, I mean, we all pay enough money into it as guys overseas to watch the games live. I have a subscription to Celtic TV, and what you get is not value for money. Like, not even remotely close to getting value for money. And the only reason you pay it is because you know the money's going directly to the club and it helps the team. So, yeah.
Last thing for you, Willie. What do you make of the guys going on loan? Monty and Quan in the SPL. Should this be the new standard?
I have no problem with players going out on loan in the SPL. We put Christopher Ayer out on loan in the SPL, and he got some much needed game experience at Kilmarnock and came back a better player and kind of went straight back into our first team after that. So I have no problem. I would like to put Yang out on loan to an SPL team as well to try and get him some match experience. So I have no problem with players going out on loan in Scotland. It's actually better because you loan them out to a Scottish club, then they can't play against us, but they can play against Rangers. So if you put Quan out or Yang out there and they do the business against them, even better, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like Scales last season as well, and Ryan Christie before him when he was at Aberdeen, and as you said, Ayer, those sort of guys going out, getting the experience in the league we're going to play in, at the stadiums we're going to play in. They get to play against that mob over at Snake Mountain again, and then they come back and, you know, they tend to, I think those sort of players who go on loan even Ralston, he went out on loan a few places and came back. It makes the transition back into the first team at Celtic, I think, a lot easier than them just having someone sit on the bench not playing them and then throwing them in from the cold or sending them down on loan into England. Like, I understand we're trying to do Bruni a favour with sending guys like Monty down to, you know, Fleetwood Town with him and everything, but at the end of the day, like, it's going to be much better for Monty going out to, he did well at St Johnson last year, or go out to Motherwell the rest of this season. It'd be pretty good. And then, yeah, as Damien's saying, loan players out to other SPL teams, see if they can sink or swim. And Dan's saying, would Tilio be better off being loaned in the SPFL than back here? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But it's going to sound really weird because I don't like the place, but the good club for him to go to would probably be not St Mirren, but I think Killy would be a good move for him.
Yeah, quite possibly. I mean,
on plastic with his leg injuries, but
Yeah.
Killy would be a good move, or I was going to say even Hearts would be decent.
Hibs or anyone.
Yeah.
I think I often get the impression when we loan players out, we don't put an awful lot of thinking into what the player needs for their own personal development. And we just say, oh, look, there's a team in England who have Celtic, Scott Brown's there, we'll just put a couple of players out on loan to them. There's no real thought into what sort of formation these teams play, what style of football they're playing. Is it pressing? Is it defensive? Is it tactical? Does the player need to develop his tactical side of his game? Let's put him to a very tactically minded team. I just think they punt players out left, right, and centre and hope something will stick. They're just throwing things at the wall and hoping it'll stick, as they say. So I just think, they could do a lot better with loaning players out.
So no one to David Martindale to go play at Livingston, not required. Who's up at Ross County? Who's the manager up there? Derek Adams, isn't it?
Derek Adams, he's a decent enough manager, but he's come out with a few strange statements of late.
He seems like a weird unit, like he's been sniffing glue or something. But you know, his actual development record for players wouldn't be, you know, hinting at it. So for me, like, I'd even consider making Tilio do the Jackson Irvin run and send him up to Ross County on loan.
Yeah.
It worked for Jacko, it could work for him.
It's quite possible. I mean, Ross County developed a couple of, I mean, that Yandanda, he seems to be quite sought after by other SPL clubs. They've taken him from, I think it was Liverpool they got him from. So he's attracting a bit of interest, but it depends on the style. Like I say, it all depends on the style of football. If you got a player like Tilio, you need to put him out to a team who are going to be on the front foot and attacking. There's no point in putting a player like Tilio out to a team who's going to sit and play counter-attacking football all season. Like, so.
Good point. So we're going to go with the pod. Before we get into our next topic, I just want to encourage everyone, if you haven't already done so, subscribe to the Celtic Down Under podcast on your podcast app and also on YouTube. If you're watching it on there, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so when we go live on Monday and Thursday, you get notified. Encourage a friend to follow the podcast, come watch, join the conversation. We're trying to grow the channel and just keep it going in the right direction, keep it charting up. It's growing well, so I appreciate each and every one of your support. Our social media channels are listed on the screen. So on Instagram, Threads, and Twitter, it's at Celtic Down. Facebook and YouTube, you can find us Celtic Down Under. Just search it. Look for the boxing kangaroo over the shamrock as our logo. And Also, if you're after some merch to support the podcast, www.celticdownunder.com. There's t-shirts, hoodies, and drink bottles on there as well. So, yeah, just thought we'd just share that around again. Now, I want to ask you, Willie, there's been reports that apparently Celtic and Rangers have sat down together this week to discuss the away allocation for the remaining Glasgow derbies this season. The talk is that Rangers are looking to make it for 750 people each. Celtic is wanting it to go back to the old allocations it was before they even reduced it to that. Is that enough people, 750? Or would you be like me and think, stuff them? If they're not going to give us our old allocation back, then no soup for you, to quote the guy from Seinfeld. They don't get any tickets. What's your thoughts?
I would definitely not accept 750 seats. You cannot guarantee any form of safety to our fans. Coins rain down on you, bottles of piss rain down on you when you're sat in that wee corner, all 750 and the full game long. You've got Rangers fans trying to sneak weapons into the stadium. 750 against 50-odd thousand. It's not fair. It's not fair on the supporters, and the club is well within the rights to turn around and tell Rangers to ram it. And as it goes for the old allocation, it's never going to go back. They've sold the season tickets for that area, and I don't think it'll ever go back. But what I think to move forward between the two of us is to go to the European allocation, where you get the 2,500 in the corner, and we give them 2,500 in our corner. I think that would be the fairest sort of approach to it. But if they did, there is a way. I think if you wanted to go back to getting the old Copeland Road stand, it's 8,000 seats. They could turn around and say, look, we've sold these seats to our fans. There's no way we can do this. You could turn around and say, well, look, there's 8,000 seats available at Parkhead. You give up your seat for this game at Ibrox, you will all get the seats at Parkhead. So the Copeland Road that would have been full of Rangers supporters when it comes to that fixture will go back to Celtic. When that game comes around at Parkhead, the Rangers fans that would have been in the Copeland Road will get the tickets at Celtic Park. That might work. It might be an olive branch to sort of put out there and just say, look, we want to go back to the way it was, but I can't foresee it in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, you're speaking too much sense, Willie.
Sorry, Copeland Road, the Broomlane. Sorry,
Broomlane.
Getting late here.
Yeah, you're making too much sense, Willie. Though, with that whole theory. Come on. So as Anaheim Ducks across the pond are saying we should not accept 750. It's a joke. Yeah. Damien saying it's not happening. Celtic have already told them to do one. And then we've got it's unsafe for a start. At least European night allocations is a minimum, as you said there. 750 is nonsense. Old allocation on nothing. SPFL should step in and take it out of the club's hands. The problem is once people have sold those tickets once, there's a precedent. 750 Rangers supporters at Ibrox is plenty for me.
Yeah.
Yep, they can shove their 750 tickets. And then no chance Rangers have sold the seats and SPFL don't have the balls to get involved. Yeah, we absolutely know that. I think the old saying is they couldn't organise a route in a brothel with a handful of 50s. The SPFL, we saw that after the last derby with the release the tapes and all this sort of stuff. I hope that bloke on hunger strike's gone okay. But yeah, well, I don't think it's going to happen. Dan saying we wouldn't give them a packet of crisps, let alone more seats. Yeah, so I think that sums up the majority of our thoughts. So we'll just roll on to the we've got the Scottish Cup 4th round tie against Buckie Thistle this Sunday, Monday our time. I think it works out at about 5 or 6 a.m. for you Monday morning, Willie.
It'll be a nice one just to get up, watch the game, and go to work. So yeah.
And for us, it's, I don't know, stupid o'clock, 3 a.m., 4 a.m., something like that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. So I'm going to ask you, are there going to be any debuts in this game? Do you think Kuhn will make his debut at all, or do you think he'll come off the bench, or what are your thoughts on that? And who will be your starting lineup?
I think Kuhn might come off the bench, but I don't foresee any debuts. For me, the starting lineup will be Hart, Frame, Nawrocki, Scales, Ralston, Calmont, Bernardo, Turnbull, Johnson, Forrest, and Kyogo.
Fair enough. Got to remember who's off on Asian Cup duty as well. So
Yeah.
No, I was just going in my head going, "Yep, they're there."
Yeah.
For me, I'm like, I don't think Kuhn will debut. I think it'll be a chance for him to come off the bench. I think Taylor will start, but Frame will get some minutes. Unless we want to play Bernabé and put him in the shop window. That's the only other thing I could possibly think of there. If someone's looking at him, some Italian teams or whatever, let's play him in this game to try and make it happen. So for me, starting lineup, Hart and goals, Taylor, Scales, Narosky, and Johnson. Middle of the park will be Kelmack, Bernardo, and O'Reilly. Up front, Kyogo. With the wingers will be Palmer and I think it'll be a Barter.
Full out attack, no giving the opposition a little bit of a sniff there by just a straight first 11, you think?
Did we not get knocked out in the very first game we played in the League Cup earlier this season?
We did die, but it wasn't a Highland League team we were playing there. So
we're not here to fuck spiders, Willie. We're here
exactly. I like it. Cricket score coming in.
There's a reason too. You go onto the Blue Nose Twitter, and what you'll see is a lot of these people over there are thinking, "Oh, we're a chance to win the League Cup, and if we win the Scottish Cup, we're a chance at the league." So they're talking treble. So I'm like, no. We go all out in the Scottish Cup. We make sure we win the league and that, and then they can get back in their box again. So that's why I'm going all out attack. And my score prediction, 7-1.
I'm going 5 or 6-0, yeah. So I think it's going to be a high scoring game.
Yep. So let us know your score predictions in the comments here. Maestro's saying, get the game done and dusted and make the changes. We had a comment here. I'm just trying to find it again. Where is it? Martin was saying, should we loan Lawwells to the SPFL starting ASAP? I don't know. Get rid of them. That could work. But yeah, we'll looking forward to the game on the weekend. I think it's a perfect opportunity to get it done. RL77 saying must play Frame, Highland, and Hard Rain. Yeah, you're starting to talk me into playing Frame. Maestro saying 6-0. Wouldn't. Yeah, maybe we could even get away with playing, the old Ralston, the Bricky even at some point too. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think we're going to smack them though, and it's going to be good to have Celtic back to start talking about them actually playing football and not all the transfer speculation. So I think we'll wrap the pot up there, Willie. Thanks everyone for tuning in. What we're going to do is we're going to go to our final thoughts as usual to end the podcast. So, Willie, I'll throw it over to you.
Final thought is, I wonder if world-famous author Stephen King will be tuning into the game on Monday morning. He's a big Buckie Thistle fan.
Nice. For me, my final thought is pretty simple. If you don't know how to drive, get off the bloody road.
Thanks
everyone again. Ho, ho.